Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sim's YouTube channel, and welcome back to Calmsden Farm. This is episode number 11, and just a very brief programming note as far as this series goes. It is in the real world, it is Monday, and that particular Monday is the 7th of February. And the real surprising thing occurred, the video that you're actually watching today, Monday, the 7th of February, I recorded that video on Saturday morning and didn't even check Giants Mod Hub to see if any mods were released. I had checked on Friday before, and the Calmsden update did not appear on that Friday. And so, oddly enough, um, on Saturday, after I got done filming that episode, recording that episode, guess what dropped? The map for Calmsden, the update for Calmsden, version 1.1.0.0. And fantastic for those of you who have been waiting for that mod for that update. Some of you are even waiting for that update before you start your Let's Play on this wonderful, wonderful map. And so it is out, and we have it installed. I went ahead and made the decision. I took a complete backup of my game save. I actually took a complete backup of my entire Farm Sim 22 folder structure, but took a backup of the game save, placed it someplace where it would be safe, and went ahead and downloaded the update or the updated version of the map. Went ahead and before I ever even installed the map into my mods folder, I went ahead and added in the HD textures, added in the real the real world logos, which you see when you go to the store, and also added in the UK weather geo. And that, of course, is if you've missed that episode where I talked about the weather geo, it's when we come to the crop calendar, we now have the ability to plant spring crops. If you just play the map vanilla as it comes, or if you play any map vanilla that doesn't have a custom geo installed within the map itself, you don't have the ability to plant many spring crops like wheat, barley, canola. You can't do those in the spring. But anyway, installed those and got basically got the map to or the map zip file to the exact same structure, if you will, that the previous version was. Went ahead and, like I said, made the backup and everything. Put the updated version of the map into my mods folder. Fired up the game, and everything is just beautiful and working just fine. I've got the features that I'm interested in or was interested in. And to be quite honest, I really wasn't bothered with any of the major changes to the map. Obviously, I can take advantage of the expanded feed trough sizes, and that's going to come in handy because that's going to just give us the ability to fill these up, or at least put a lot more in them than what we could have before. And then that way, when we do get into time where we're busy harvesting or busy doing other things on the farm, we don't necessarily have to worry about the animals quite so much, and we can just kind of rest assured that they're going to be fine. And but other than, in order to be able to sell the horse paddock, to be able to sell the pig area, you do have to start a brand new game save, and those were not important features for me. They weren't important enough for me to go through the trouble of basically, catching us back up. And of course, there are easier ways to do that. If I would have had to have done that, I would have done it all behind the scenes, and I would have just, rented some or just purchased some really large equipment, and would have just got the fields, relimed, sown with oilseed radish, sown with wheat and with canola, and just, it would have taken me a couple of days possibly to do that, and I would have just done that off camera, and then whenever we came back for whatever, the next video was, I would just say, okay, I went ahead and did a complete brand new game save, brought everything up. Might even have attempted to try to move over like the vehicle XML file, that sort of thing, to see if I could bring bells over and things like that. But anyway, don't have to worry about that because I don't need to do a restart for what I'm interested in, I want to how I want to play the map, play the map. So we are going to do one more thing here related to animals, and I am looking for, and I'm hoping there are some placeable manure heaps that are in the Giants Mod Hub testing, and I'm hoping that those come out soon. And I might be inclined to put a manure heap down if they're small enough. I would kind of like to put one, if I can get one small enough, I would like to kind of put one in here beside the slurry tank back here. Might have to try to do a little bit of ground leveling just to see if I can get it in there, but might try that if that's possible. But we will just have to wait and see. And I had left Fury Machine Gaming a comment um, regarding his placeable manure heap and possibly what might be happening with his situation. And I just wanted to point out that there are two different types of manure heaps. And if I go into the correct menu, I can demonstrate this correctly. There are there's there's a manure heap here, and I think this is possibly the one that you put down, and this is the incorrect one. You want the silo extension where it goes here, and if you if you try to place this down, and if you move it too far out, it'll tell you manure heap needs to be placed next to the barn. And so you can bring this guy in here, however way, put him in here, and put him down once you get it far enough away or whatever, or turn on place anywhere, which I have turned off right now. But that is the one that you want. If you go back with this other one over here and you try to place it down, it doesn't care where you place it because it's not going to, we can bring it way over here. We can place it down out here in the middle of our field if we wanted to. I think this is the one that you put down, best that I can recollect. And I left you a comment on that on your YouTube video recently, but I think that YouTube decided to reject that comment for some reason. All right. So enough about that, and let's just close the gate. So we do obviously have the additional feeding capacity here in the main dairy farm. The one disadvantage to taking the update is that now I have to blow straw in via a straw blower that I see has danced around and turned around all on its own because I didn't place it in there like that. It might be because I was trying to cheat the system just a little bit and put two bells instead of just one, but that's okay. We'll sort that out. And we're just going to go down and take some hay down for the sheep because they are getting sort of low on hay, and we're just going to very quickly do this and take down two bales. Hope everyone is having a really wonderful day. I am feeling so much better. And I very much appreciate all of the well wishes and everything. I don't know why the vaccine causes me so many problems. I don't have that issue with other types. Well, I need to correct myself. I don't have that issue with like the standard yearly flu vaccine. But when I took my shingles vaccine, and I know that a lot of people also have issues with the shingles vaccine as well, that's another 2-dose kind of thing. And when I took it, the nurse handed me a sheet of paper that had all the side effects on it. And I said, well, what do you think how many of these side effects do you think I'm gonna have? And she says, well, if you have, she says, if you have none of them, you're going to be lucky. And she says, most likely you're probably going to have every single one of them. And so I brought the sheet of paper home and put it on the kitchen counter and told my wife, I'm like, okay, well, these are the side effects that I'm told that I could have with the shingles vaccine. And we began. I went into the drawer, into the little junk drawer that every kitchen has. You know, we all have that junk drawer where we keep Chinese menus and other batteries and remotes to things that we no longer own and stuff like that. And let's see if we can. Hopefully it'll take those. Just yeah, it is. It's going to take that. Hopefully that bell's not going to fall on that sheet. Anyway, we will let that do what it's going to do. And so went and got a pen and started checking those symptoms off, and lo and behold, I had every single one of them, and I felt like death warmed over after both of the shingles vaccines. But anyway, not sure why the COVID causes me the problems that it does. My dad, who was about 79. He had both of his shots plus his booster and did not have any problems whatsoever. And, had a sore arm, and that was about it. But, oh well. It's over. I'm feeling better. And, we are having fun here on Calmsden Farm on the 1.1.0.0 version. All right, we will place our JCB telehandler back down, and we're going to head back over to our main farm area. Called the main farm. I guess this is kind of like Farm B. The other one is Farm A. But we will just throw this guy back in the shed here and head on back over. Now, we're going to, for the rest of this episode, which we're about a little less than halfway through, for the rest of this episode, we are going to roll the wheat field number 3. We're going to roll that, roll those seeds under. That was something that I wasn't planning to do in Farm Sim 22. I'd kind of done it once, and the novelty of the whole idea kind of wore off on me. I know that a lot of farms don't roll their seed bed, some do. I had watched a video, and I talked a little bit about this back in my Elm Creek series. I watched a video that Millennial Farmer put out, and he talked about the importance of rolling and said that, basically he can certainly tell a difference in his crops when they have not been rolled versus those that have been. And so, he had mentioned, he had actually said, well, it wasn't it wasn't his favorite thing to do as far as chores on the farm, but it goes fairly quick, and it's, as far as a process goes, it's fairly inexpensive because it's not, you're not having to expend any money on any sort of product other than diesel and of course your time in doing it and everything. So we're gonna do it, and I've given Sid, almost said Billy Bob, I've given Sid the early lunch, so he is off doing some things, possibly helping out Father Brown. And so we are just going to do this and get this done, and then enjoy ourselves while we do something simple like rolling in the seed bed. And I do always just like to jump out, come back around here, and take a peek, because I don't know. I guess I sometimes worry that, well, that's just going to remove my seed bed. But it doesn't. Anyway, I wanted to briefly, well, it may not be briefly, because I'll probably spend the balance of this episode talking about this very important subject. I kind of gave you a teaser about this in the previous episode that you watched on Monday, today, the day that I'm recording this episode. you should see this episode tomorrow, Tuesday, or at the latest Wednesday. Still working on getting my schedule, getting my sort of my routine and everything down that works for me. And so just kind of bear with me if the video doesn't come out on Tuesday and you're watching it on Wednesday, then just understand that I just did not have time to get it edited and all of that stuff. So anyway, the thing that I wanted to very briefly mention to you, oh, by the way, 2 things before I start that. Number 1, Giants is planning to release a game update in the coming days or weeks. When I first heard about this, supposedly we were about 2 weeks away, and that was a few days ago. So it could very well be any time between now and possibly the end of February, I guess. But they are planning to release an update for the game. Remember what happened for those of us that had programmed our controllers and all of that stuff when they did the first patch. We lost all of our settings. Everything went back to 0. Went back to default. So you might want to make a backup. If you didn't learn that lesson at that particular point in time, then you might want to make a backup of your control binding settings. That way you can just copy those back into your game save or back into the Farming Simulator 22 folder when the update comes. So that's your first public service announcement. The second one, if you're not a member of the Simply Safe Mods Discord server, you might want to come over and take a look at that, and take a look at the teaser pictures that Bullet Bill has posted in the Simply Safe Mods Discord channel regarding a brand new map that he is working on for Farming Simulator 22. Now, for those of you that might be Bullet Bill fans like I am, you may know that he did not do any modding for FS19. He did not release any mods for FS19. He did, when FS19 released, he was still modding on Farm Sim 17. He did release the Western Shore and a few other equipment tractor type mods and some other visual type mods. He did release those on simplysafemods.com for Farm Sim 17, but he didn't do anything for 19. So to see him back, I follow him on Discord. He and I are friends. I follow him. I see him using Blender quite a bit, and see him playing Farm Sim 22, and seeing the screen captures that he's releasing for the map just excites me. Now, there's no timeline. It will be released when it's released. So don't come over to simplysafemods.com and start pestering him on when it's going to be released, because if you do that, I'm probably going to swing the ban hammer and ban you from the Discord. It will be released when it's ready. It could be months, and that's my expectation. In other words, it's not going to be any time in the very near future. You just need to be patient. You just need to allow him the time to produce the work of art that we know that he can produce. Okay, enough about all of that. The thing that I wanted to talk to you all about in the minutes that I have remaining is we have a problem within the Farm Sim community related to mods. And I've talked about this before. Many other content creators have talked about this and have dedicated time on their channels, their live streams, their videos and everything, of discussing the issues that we have with people stealing mods, basically taking mods from a previous version and either spending a little bit of time or almost no time at all in adapting that mod for the new version, uploading it, letting it pose as something that they've done themselves, or even those that do take the effort to convert a mod from, say, 19 to 22. If they don't have permission from the original mod author to do that, then regardless of how good of a job that they do, they are still doing something wrong. Well, I've talked about that enough to know, for you to know, that you know how I feel about the subject of those kind of things, those unauthorized mod conversions and stuff like that. So really where I'm going with with the conversation today is slightly different. And we have another problem where we have individuals, we have people that are profiting um, from mods that others are creating. I'm talking about these mod rehosting websites that basically go around and take mods, and they do it. They pull mods from simplysafemods.com. I have no way of controlling that. I have no way of preventing them from doing that. Even if I go to the trouble to force you to create an account before you could download a mod, I can't stop them from doing the same thing. So I kind of say to myself, well, why should I put you through a bunch of extra hoops, making you create an account and everything on the website, when all they're going to do is create an account and still download the same stuff and re-upload it to these sites. And of course, I'm talking about the kind of sites I'm talking about are these that are, these pop-up sites that we've seen that come up just after FarmSim 22 was released, farmingsimulator22.com, fs22mods.whatever. It's these types of sites. And what they do is they go around to all of these individual mod authors' Facebook pages, their itch.io sites, if they have an independent dedicated kind of site, that go around to those, and they're basically pulling these mods down from these sites. They're re-uploading them to these re-upload type sites. Sometimes they even have built-in scripts that do all of this more or less for them, almost automatic, so that it's almost zero effort on their part. And of course, they're saturating the site with ads, and I'm not even talking about Google ads, which is what I use on simplysafemods.com. And of course, you might say, well, Jerry, you're running ads on simplysafemods.com, so how can you say and poke any fingers at some of these other folks? Well, let me tell you something. I'm not making any money off of the ads that are running on simplysafemods.com. They are going towards helping to offset the costs, but they don't pay the bills 100%. It's just helping to offset the cost, and that's why I have advertising turned on simplysafemods.com, is to help offset the cost. But I'm not going around and pulling mods off of other sites. There are some sites that I would classify into the legitimate category. They work very hard to try to make sure that any mod that they have listed on their site pays proper credit back to the original mod author. They use original links everywhere that is necessary, but they still do a few things that kind of bother me in a way. And one of these sites is like Kingsmods, I believe it's kingsmods.com, is they go and they pull down all the mods on the Giants Mod Hub, and they use the original link. So if you click on them, it takes you to the Giants webpage to download it. But they have it listed on their site as well. And to me, it's kind of confusing, because the first thing, when I start to look for a mod, the first place I will look is obviously simplysafemods.com. And because I control that site, I pretty much have a pretty good memory of what's on it and what's not on it. So my second resource that I go to is the Giants Mod Hub. I will peruse that website, look to see if there's anything on that website that is of interest to me that will help me in my farming efforts. And if there is, that's where I get the mod from. The next place that I will look, if I can't find it on Giants Mod Hub, and if it's not on simplysafemods.com, is I will, there is a Discord server that I mentioned a few weeks ago called Authentic Mods. Don't have the exact name in front of me, but I will post a link to it in the show notes. And it's kind of a category. They've got it laid out where it's all the various categories of equipment, and people will post original links to mods in that particular place. And then I will maybe peruse a few Facebook sites that I know of, looking for specific mods that are maintained by the modder themselves. There's a few links that I'm going to post. I know I'm getting close here on time, so I'm going to try to wrap this up. There's a few links that I'm going to post down in the comments section or down below the show notes. There is Tyson created a modder directory that is uh, that is a link that you can click on that will take you to that. Also, Dairydeere. Dairydeere is, I believe, he's on simplysafemods.com, or he's on Simply Safe Mods Discord. He's on Farmer Klein Discord, on a few others. He created a guide to finding good farming simulator mods. I'm going to post a link to that document, and basically that way, those are some tools that you can use that will kind of help you in essentially finding mods for your game. And I will tell you that the only way that we're going to get this madness to stop, the only way that we're going to get this madness to stop with these mod re-uploading sites is to basically stop using them. If we stop using them and they stop getting ad revenue, then they will shut down. Of course, that's a big ask, because not only am I kind of calling out my fellow content creators, whom I would encourage you that before you show a mod on your channel, you make sure that that mod is from the original mod author, that it's available to be downloaded from a reputable source, so on and so forth. But also to each and every individual player out there as well, who doesn't put their content on YouTube or Twitch or whatever, who plays just in the privacy of your own home on your own PC. It will go a long ways. We will fight this problem if each and every one of you will basically stop using these poor sites that are just decimating our community, decimating our modding community, and forcing a lot of modders to go underground with their mods, where they only release to their friends and private kind of things, and and then that removes it from those of us who enjoy playing with mods, because it enhances our game, allows us to use different equipment that we don't have access to in the base game, etc., etc., etc. I'll put those links in the show notes so that you can check those out at your convenience. And I would just really appreciate if you would join me and join many other content creators out there who have taken a stand to respect our modding community and everything that we do, to basically make sure that anything that we use, whether it is in the privacy of our own PCs and we don't stream or don't record anything, and for those of us who are content creators, that anything and everything that we put on our channel comes from a legitimate location, a legitimate resource that is paying the correct respect to the individual mod author, mod creator, map author, map creator, etc. That's the commitment that I'm asking from each and every one of my listeners as I wrap up episode number 11 here on Calmsden Farm. I appreciate you watching very, very much, and we're probably going to be in the next game day when we come back together, be in November, trying to move the chains along as we continue to virtually farm our map here, and enjoying every minute of gameplay here on Calmsden Farm. And I hope that you are feeling the same way about your experience if you too are playing this wonderful map. Until next time, God bless you all, and thanks for watching, and I'll be right back here in a couple of days with another episode on Calmsden Farm. Take care of yourself. Bye for now.